In 2006, 5-year-old Matthew's favorite thing to do was hang out with Dad. Whether they were playing with trains, reading about dinosaurs, fishing off a bank, or just being boys searching for life under rocks in the creek, Dad was his superhero. Matthew was a sweet, compassionate, happy boy, doing well in school and life. But before he turned 6, things changed. He became depressed, wasn't eating, wasn't playing with his trains or dinosaurs, and he began having issues at school. But it wasn't his fault. He just couldn't cope with the fact that his father wasn't coming back home, that his parents divorced. Around the world, there is about 256 million children growing up like Matthew. That's twice the entire population of Japan, and this is beyond dangerous. In the U.S. alone, over 23% of children are living in fatherless homes, and they account for 71% of high school dropouts, 85% of youth in prison, and 90% of runaways. I couldn't let that happen to Matthew because he's my son. Now, I've been remarried for 10 years, and my wife and I have 2 beautiful daughters, Emily and Annie. And I'm telling you, they have me wrapped around my little finger. For Matthew, though, maintaining our relationship was hard, and our journey has led me to fully understand the heartbreaking impacts on these kids and how we might make things better. You see, Matthew's mom had primary custody, and I only got him every other weekend. But heck, even that time didn't always happen. Things like work, travel, finances, and unfortunate arguments with his mother all impacted our time. It not only left me and Matthew heartbroken, it began having a major impact on my daughter Emily, too. One weekend, we were in the truck on our way to pick up Matthew, and the phone rang. He wasn't coming. And Emily, she was devastated. That's when I knew something had to change, not only for the kids, but for myself. I had to stop being angry and begin working on healing myself and my family. I thought about my relationship with my own father, how he struggled with alcoholism and wasn't always there for us. He'd spend more time in bars or pass out in his chair than actually bonding with his 3 boys. And there was a lot of resentment there. It really sucked. But even though he struggled with alcoholism, he showed me how even the smallest of unforgettable moments can make a difference. What time he did spend with us, he made it count. Moments like this one. Here we are heading out to canoeing camp. I am the youngest in the middle. And yes, my oldest brother still gets teased about those shorts. We canoed for miles, fished, talked, listened to my father as he played his harmonica. I will never forget that time or the jokes and the stories he told around that campfire. This weekend made a significant impact in strengthening our emotional connections and bonds. Reflecting on that memory, I took 9-year-old Matthew on our own father and son adventure, camping on the lake, much like my dad did with me, using the same canoe. And boy, did we make some memories. Matthew will never forget me eating that blasted hot pepper. Man, was my mouth on fire. I could have drank the entire lake. For me, though, as soon as we set a trot line to catch fish, I saw an expression come over him, and I knew something had changed for the better, that he would be okay. It wasn't the fishing. It was about spending time together, connecting, even if just for a little while. Those little moments made all the difference. I had my son back. That's when I decided to help other fathers like me by hosting an annual camp that sits on the banks of the Clinch River in Clinton, Tennessee. It is free to all fathers to include the campsite, meals, any support or equipment needed. We do our best to make it easy on Dad, so he can focus on his kids and not have to worry about cooking or cleaning up after them. He can just let loose, be a kid, fish, and watch as his own explores the outdoors. The dads I've met and learned about taught me that fatherlessness comes in many forms. For some, it's about divorce or estrangement due to alcohol or drug abuse. For others, it's about lengthy military service. I learned that in other parts of the world, like in South Africa, only 37% of children are living with their fathers. And in Central and South America, half of all kids are born out of wedlock, and most never see their dad. Camp has taught me that fatherhood is not only vital to a child's development, but that seemingly huge hurdles can be overcome by simple acts of love and memorable moments. Studies have shown that a bond between a father and infant can be just as strong as a mother's. That children who have regular access to involved fathers have better emotional, academic, social, and behavioral outcomes. The stories I've experienced at camp help prove that. The most anticipated event is the 11-mile canoe trip down that river. This 8-hour adventure has each father and their children in the same canoe, navigating light rapids, fishing, talking, laughing, enjoying nature, and making memories. In our 4th year, 2017, we camped over Father's Day weekend and have grown from just Matthew and me to 15 fathers and 23 children. The best part about camp is seeing all those kids making memories with their fathers and watching as their dads look after them, cleaning up happy faces, applying sunscreen. Paul said camp was an unforgettable experience and the bonds made were irreplaceable. There wasn't a single father that didn't get a hug. And Steve said camp allowed him to make lifelong memories with his son, son-in-law, and grandson that he ordinarily wouldn't have had. And there were lots of happy faces. Dennis said his kids were still talking about camp 4 months after, and they have friends wanting to attend next year. And then there was this moment. Michael held a fish that his daughter had caught for a special kiss and release moment. He expressed every time camp is mentioned, his kids' faces light up with happiness. Every single canoe made their own memories. And of course, my family made some too. Here I am with my beautiful daughter, Emily, and here's 16-year-old Matthew. That canoe trip really kicked his butt. Now, weekends like this may not be possible for every father. It isn't always that simple and easy, as there are many good and loving fathers out there who never get to see their kids. But along the way, I found ways to make things better. For example, on one adventure, Matthew and I spent the day looking for life in the creek and collecting cool rocks. It was a fun day. But on this day, I knew it would be our last for over a month. So we traded a couple rocks, and I told him that if he was ever thinking of me, he could hold on to that rock and know that I was thinking of him too. Here is the rock that he gave me. I love you, son. Photographs are powerful in that they capture moments as they might imprint on the mind. So I made scrapbooks and videos to be viewed while I was away. I like to hide notes or small gifts in places that my kids would never look. When I call to tell them good night, I lead them to one. Not only does it show that I was thinking of them before we even spoke, they can't wait for the next call. And then there's my personal favorite I do with Emily and Annie. Work has me traveling often, so I take their favorite toy with me. I then send photos of me and the toy hanging out together, doing cool things. Boy, have I had some strange looks and questions as I get caught playing with Rainbow Dash. But you know, moments such as this are a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And though my daughters are 4,242 miles away, we can still share in this memory together. 1 second while I take a selfie. That might be blurry, so I may need yours. So here I am, talking about the importance of fatherhood. And yet, I have a daughter that I never get to see. She is also from my first marriage, Matthew's little sister. Her name is Gracie, and today is her 11th birthday. Due to many unfortunate circumstances, we have never been allowed to form a bond. And she has no idea how very, very much I love her. So, to any father out there who believes all is lost, that it is too late, understand that as long as life permits, it is never too late. You see, I learned another lesson from my father after he sobered up and began helping others do the same. I'm pretty sure that he believed that our relationship couldn't be fixed, that it was just broke. It took some time. I was 24. But forgiveness came, and we truly bonded as father and son, as if it had always been the case. Forgiveness, healing, that true connection couldn't have come at a better time. As he was unfortunately diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, 13 days later, holding my mother's hands, he passed away. I remember him most for the many wonderful moments that we shared. And I am forever thankful that he took with him the comfort and acknowledgement of being a great father. Whether through camp, working with other dads, or trying to heal the wounds of my own family, it is my goal to reduce the alarming statistics of fatherlessness in whatever form it comes. May the ripples of our canoes reach a multitude of shores and children around the world, most especially those who never see their father. Happy birthday, and I love you, Gracie. Thank you all, and please remember to call your father.